We say it often in Celebrate Recovery, but why should we trust the process? It's twofold in that. Why should we trust the process when things are really bad and it feels hopeless? And the flip side of that is, why should we keep trusting the process even when we're experiencing relief and maybe the pain is lifted a little bit? Why should we stay the course? Today we're going to talk about trusting the process. Welcome to Celebrate Recovery Official, a podcast that shares life change, hope, leadership, wisdom, all centered around the Beatitudes from Matthew chapter 5, where the Beatitudes birth the Celebrate Recovery principles and how we face our hurts from the events in our life, the hang-ups, how we see ourselves, God, and others, and circumstances, and some of our defense strategies, protections, we call habits that might take us into unhealthy rhythms with others and our fellowship with God, ultimately to bring healing, new healthy truths, and new healthy practices through reconciliation with others and God. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ. I struggle with drugs and alcohol and perfectionism. My name is Rodney. I'm the Global Field Director with Celebrate Recovery. It's good to be back with you guys today. Hope you're having a good week and things are rocking and rolling for you. And as you continue to work your recovery, you're taking some time to celebrate those milestones, and especially not doing that alone. We have to do it with other people. We need God and we need our community and CR. But hey, thanks for sharing this. We love the feedback we're getting on the podcast. It's good to know that someone's actually listening, that we can keep doing this. If you like it and want us to keep doing that, drop a review. Let us know that how you're enjoying it and how it's impacting you. It helps us know that we're not just doing it to do it, just kind of floating out there in la-la land, but it's actually making an impact, and it helps us to reach more people. So be sure to share this with somebody that maybe doesn't know about Celebrate Recovery, or maybe they're in it and didn't know about this tool. That can be helpful in their road to recovery. But I was thinking about this, again, another entry from a forever family sister saying, hey, kind of through that lens of one day at a time, why is it important to trust the process? So I was chewing on that. And here's a thought I was thinking about is the twofold is, how do I trust the process when things just feel hopeless? Like, what's the point? But also, how do I trust the process when things seem to be getting better? I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes when people come into the recovery process, they're literally bleeding on the inside. Spiritually, they're bleeding, and it feels hopeless. Everything's falling apart, and we're just looking for relief. And sometimes early in the process, just getting in community and maybe for the first time talking to people, we start to experience relief. Here's the big thing. We're not trying to just give you relief. And a lot of times people say, hey, I feel good. I think I'm great. I don't need to continue the process. And they bail. And then they circle back because they have not fixed the solution. We're not trying to just give relief. There is relief in that in some ways. We still live in a broken world. We're going to experience pain. But it's not just about relief. It's about restoration. It's about renewal. It's about transformation. And that's what we're trying to lead towards. So through that lens of kind of when things are crazy bad or when things are good, I want you to think in both lenses because it may be applicable to you in that. But why should I trust the process in Celebrate Recovery? Why show up to my general meeting on Friday nights to do, or whatever your night meets, to do worship and to go to open share group and to connect with the community? Why do we do step study? Why do we do open share? All those components that we talk about. Why should I trust the process? And as I was chewing on this, it kind of hit me. Healing is a journey, isn't it? We do this. We trust it because healing is a journey. It's not an event. And our growth takes time. Again, you might experience relief. Sometimes you may not. And that's part of it. It's like, man, it doesn't feel like anything is working. Why should I keep doing this? Because growth takes time. Even when we experience a relief, it still takes time. Working the principles of Celebrate Recovery can kind of peel back those layers in God's timing. God's doing something. He's not just going to make a kind of a squash version of you. Why do I say that? Squash sprouts up quickly, and yet it can rot out quickly. Oak trees take time to build some deep, strong roots that will grow into a strong oak tree. And so we're trying to, at God's pace, allow him to grow an oak tree. Philippians 1:6 says, be confident, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. So we're trying to trust the process, because healing is a journey. It's not an event. So even where you sit right now, just tell yourself, healing is a journey. It's not an event. How's that hit your heart? This is a journey, not an event. And so growth takes time. God, you're growing. I'm going to trust you in this. So this is a journey, and sometimes that brings relief initially, and it's tempting to say, hey, I'm good, or I'm feeling, hopeless, and it feels like nothing. It feels like everything's fallen apart. Since I got in this stupid recovery program, I lost my job, and I've had 4 flat tires, and I don't have any money in my bank account. All these things that the enemy will try to use to discourage you and convince you that maybe it's because you're working your recovery that you're experiencing this. Now, there is an element of spiritual warfare. We have to be aware of that. But it's going to take time. On the flip side, everything's great. My wife let me back in the house. I'm feeling better about life. I feel hope, and maybe I'm good. And we forget that there's underlying problems. What you came in here was symptoms. What we're trying to do is get to the roots of that. And so God's going to carry it on to completion. Even if things feel better or they feel worse, stay the course. God in his healing process is bringing you into a journey, not to an event. If I go to an event, it's just like this, oh, that was cool, and we leave the event. A journey means we stay on that road. And yes, there's ups and downs, but if we have God in the middle of that and he's bringing to our attention some things to pay attention to, then we're in much better shape. The second thing I'll say on that is, why would I do that? Why would I trust the process? Because God works even when we don't feel it. And that kind of speaks to when we feel hopeless, whether I'm feeling immense pain or I'm feeling a lot of peace and calm. God is moving underneath the surface. God, you're doing something. And that song that we sing in CR, even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. There's nothing more truer in the process of Celebrate Recovery. He's working even when we don't feel like he's working. That's part of the faith. When 2 Corinthians 5 reminds us to walk by faith, not by sight. I can't see it. I can't feel it. But my faith in you, Lord, I'm going to trust the process. And man, that's so hard to do, isn't it? We can get stuck in that space and we forget, God, you brought me to this. You'll be faithful to carry me through it. So help me in this space, Father, to stay the course. So in the same way, when things are going well, God is working even when I don't feel it. It's like, I think he's done. I think he's finished the work in me. No. Until Christ comes back, and I hate that that's true, the day of Christ Jesus, he's going to keep working. This maturation process we call sanctification. It's just, recovery's a fancy word for sanctification. He is sanctifying us as we work through the pains, the victories, the mountaintop experiences, the valleys. He's doing something. I don't have to see it to know. I don't even have to feel it to know. Through faith, I know God is doing something. I think for me, why do I keep trusting? Why do I keep showing up for meetings? Why do I trust the process? And, in life, I still experience pain, heartache, hardship, loss of loved ones, challenges, opposition, all those things. But working my recovery has given me the tools to face the pain. But when I trust the process and ask that question, why should I trust the process? It's because my pain reminds me of my need. Lord, today I'm reminded again things aren't great today, but I'm hurting, and I recognize and I'm reminded I need you. So when things hurt in your life, that the process that you're trusting is knowing there is someone who's on the other side of that process, who is guiding the process. He gives us the structure and this beautiful ministry, this beautiful resource that points us to the source to face that hurt instead of slipping back into my old coping strategy. So why trust the process? Because my way of walking through the process hasn't worked, and I've got to trust you in that. My old numbing agents is not sufficient. But guess what is sufficient? His grace. 2 Corinthians 12 says, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power, sons and daughters, is made perfect in weakness. Christ, when we can take our insufficiency and our weaknesses to him, we're inviting, again, through the pain that we're experiencing, we're reminded yet again that his power is made perfect in our weakness. So when I feel good, celebrate it, but I'm going to stay in the process. When I'm feeling bad, stay in it. Trust the process, because God, every time I feel pain, I'm reminded of my need, and yet today I need you, not to have relief, but you're doing something in this. Restore, renew, replenish me, give me everything that I need in this space. But I think one of the things that when to that relief piece, when we do experience the seasons of good, we can become complacent. We can get comfortable, and it can even kind of lull us into this false sense of accomplishment, and even lull us into a posture of forgetfulness. It's tempting to think, oh man, I've arrived and I'm good. That trusting the process doesn't mean that we always have a lot of things blowing up around us. But what it does say is, Jesus, I need you again today. May I never forget the grace and the mercy that you so freely gave me and kept me from experiencing the effects of because of your grace. You didn't give me what I deserve, and you gave me this beautiful gift that's grace, two-sided coin, the will of grace. Human beings don't have the power to lift a finger to save themselves. But then the other side is the work of grace, that even in the good seasons, Father, help me to stay obedient and disciplined to the process. And I've used this 1 Corinthians 10:12 in relapse lessons when we get into that principle 7 conversation. So if you think you're standing firm, be careful that you don't fall. Think of that as two bookends: fall and standing and falling. If you think you're standing, be careful that you don't fall. If you think you're standing firm, be careful that you don't fall. So in the middle of that is the be careful. Hey, today I'm standing firm, but be careful. Take heed. Watch yourself, lest you fall. I don't want to fall. And so if I'm in a good space, why would I stay the course? Because I don't want to go back to where I was. Thank God I'm not where I used to be, but I'm not where I want to be. And so even if I'm having a good day, this staying the course can guard me from the drifting. It can guard me from the forgetfulness. It can guard me from the kind of becoming complacent and comfortable, where we begin to start making compromises, and then ultimately catastrophe sets in. And that's a dangerous place, isn't it? Even when things are going good, I got to trust the process. Even when things are going bad, stay the course, keep trusting the process. Going to take a super quick break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation around why we should trust the process and why there's a benefit to our recovery. Stick with me. I'll be right back. Hey friends, did you know we have an online meeting every single Wednesday at noon Pacific? You're looking for another meeting, or maybe you just need a meeting. There's not a group around you in a rural area. Here's a great way to connect with other people, to get you to your next meeting, or just to have a meeting in general. You can go to celebraterecovery.com. We meet every Wednesday. Find the link there, noon Pacific. Join people from all over the world for a time of devotion, testimony, and then we break up into gender-specific groups. You can share or just listen, but be encouraged regardless. Join us this Wednesday, noon Pacific. Welcome back. So good stuff here to chew on. I hope you're getting some good nuggets out of this. Kind of jumping in there. So I want to stand firm. I don't want to fall. So the take heed, watch yourself, be careful is something that even when things are good, trust the process. What's the process? Get my rear end there and keep in obedience, work in the process. My heart will follow. But a big because to the trust the process is God uses both good and hard season to shape me. Do you know that when I trust the process and invite him into the good and the hard seasons, he's still shaping me? He can use a good season to create a heart of gratitude and a act of obedience and a posture of staying the course. That's the beautiful thing about the Celebrate Recovery principles and the 12 steps with biblical comparisons that we follow. It gives us tools to learn regardless of the season that you're in. When you're in a good season, it's gratitude and that posture of working that muscle that keeps my mind and my eyes looking upward, living out the fruit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, all those things, self-control. But even in trials, it helps me to learn in my trials, perseverance. When you've walked through a hard season and you've done that with God's help, you're growing perseverance, which ultimately leads to hope, which shapes us. God is shaping even in the hard seasons and the good seasons. He's still working. He doesn't take the day off because we're having a good day. He's actually growing a muscle and stretching us in a posture even in the good seasons, so that in the bad seasons, because we have a posture and we're working good muscles of gratitude and going to meetings and all those things, worshiping God and lifting our voices, that in trials, we're already in that mindset. And so he uses that shaping in the good seasons through gratitude and good practices to bring perseverance in the trials, which is so important. We're already in that mode. Romans 5:3-4 says, we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. So you can say this: suffering produces hope. And that sounds bizarre. If we look at the bookends, standing, falling, suffering, hope. And in the middle of that is the be careful. Watch yourself, take heed, we were talking about earlier. It's endurance, character. We're building our endurance. We're building and growing our character so that we can produce hope in the midst of the good and the bad. So it's staying consistent. Speaking of consistency, I think that's a big bucket because why would I trust the process? Because consistency will build those new habits. And we're talking about that with the good seasons, but recovery is not about relief, it's about restoration. It requires steady surrender on my part. Today, Lord, you're God, I'm not it. What am I going to do? What's my next right choice today that I'm going to do that I can take root in some new Christ-centered, healthy habits to replace those old, nasty coping strategies? So trusting that process helps those new Christ-centered habits to take root and grow so that I don't have to, as Galatians 6 reminds us, I don't have to grow weary of doing good. In due season, I'll reap if I just don't give up. Stay the course, your consistency with your habits. And man, it's harder, isn't it, when things are going good? Like, I think I got this. Leaning into those practices and doing what we know out of obedience when things were blowing up in our life is the same consistency we want to follow as we continue to pursue Christ. Because I need you as much today when things are going good as I need you today when things are going bad. There's a different level of desperation when things are blowing up, but when I have a posture of openness and receiving God's strength when things are going good, it's growing and watering new Christ-centered habits that, as an oak tree gets its roots down deep in the soil, the storms of life cannot push that oak tree over. It takes a lot for that to happen. We're trying to build an oak tree, not a squash, right? So consistency in no matter good or bad will build new habits, and that way when I feel weary, I don't have to give up. Do the next right thing. Don't grow weary of doing good. Do the next good, right choice, and let people hold you accountable in that space so that you can keep moving forward and growing. But I think a big because for me is Jesus is my higher power, not my feelings. It's important to listen, and our feelings and emotions are information, but I want to make sure that Christ in that hierarchy of fear is what I'm wrestling with, feeling defeat or whatever. I want to keep God in the hierarchy higher than what I'm battling. He's my higher power, not my struggle. And here's the thing, your feelings will change day to day, better, worse, good day, bad day, but the process keeps my focus on Christ, that I can have joy. And joy doesn't always mean happiness. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control. I'm trying to keep my eyes on the true source as I practice the resource and the relationships and the disciplines that God has put in my life, the habits I've developed, so that I can experience the source giving me the healing, the restoration that my heart longs for, no matter what's going on around me. Hebrews 13:8 reminds us Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. When I keep my eyes on Him, and I've said this and I'll say it again, if I don't feel like worshiping, the answer and the solution to when I don't feel like worshiping is to worship my way through it. Think of it this way: if you were hungry and things are going on, you ever been in that season, really hard things, and I'm not hungry, I don't have an appetite, and loved ones will come along and say, but you need to eat something. Why? Because you need your body, even if it doesn't feel like it, it needs those nutrients. And so you're giving yourself permission to say, hey, I don't feel like worshiping, but I'm going to worship you, God. And even just that vulnerability of saying, God, it doesn't feel like you're with me, but I'm going to, in my faith, trust you, even though I can't feel you or see you. I'm going to worship you, because the solution to not feeling like worshiping is worshiping my way through it, because my body needs it. I need it to feed my soul. And so, Jesus, you're the same yesterday, today, and forever. Even though I don't feel good from what happened yesterday, I don't feel good today, and I have doubts about tomorrow, I know that you're consistent, and so I'm going to keep worshiping you in that space. Such an important reminder. Last thing I'll say, why should I trust the process? Because your testimony proves that it works. How many times have you been to Celebrate Recovery? And by the way, have you ever felt like not going to CR and then you go? There's never an instance where I go to CR, then I didn't feel like it because I'm just tired or what. I don't feel like it. Where I walked away going, man, that was a waste of my time. No, I walk away, man, that touched my heart. I heard a testimony, or I heard a brother share in group, or I had space to share my own heart. When we hear testimonies, because we've seen so many transformation stories, haven't we? I can't even count how many lives I've seen transformed, starting with my own. And the people, and this goes for leadership as well, when I've seen people in leadership, when things get hard and messy, when I've visited groups across the country, it's hard. It was hard. It's hard in ministry today for me as a leader. I can't imagine how much harder it was for those who started this ministry. Thank God they didn't quit. They stayed the course. And I'm standing in the shade because of the seeds that they planted, right? The trees that they planted, I'm standing in that shade. And when we get to see transformation and we see the people around us knowing the things that they're going through and they keep showing up, they get their rear end there and hope their heart follows, and it usually does. No matter if you're in pain or if you're in peace, they don't quit. Your story, when you show up, especially when there's things going on, you don't feel like it and you stay the course and you don't quit, becomes hope for me, and vice versa. It shows that it's worth it. And your testimony becomes a living testimony. It's easy to say, man, this is a great ministry when everything is going well and it really changed my life. But can I say that when things are going bad? That's harder, isn't it? That's why we need each other. Revelations 12:11 reminds us they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. The enemy's going to try to take you out. The way we overcome him is through the blood of the Lamb coming to us. The word of our testimony becomes a way to punch the enemy in the mouth and saying, I feel discouraged. There's a lot going on with my grandkids, my kids, my work, my family, my ministry and struggles. My testimony, by the word of my testimony, just showing up actually becomes an incredible reminder that we're not alone, that we're just having a bad day, and this too shall pass. Tomorrow will bring new mercies, new joy. One of our sisters always, it's kind of her first thing out of her mouth when I see her. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. And when we have that heart posture to keep trusting the process, keep showing up, we're actually creating, growing, building a testimony that says, hey, by the word of my testimony, I can overcome whatever I'm facing because of the blood of the Lamb. And he is the one giving oxygen to my new testimony or a new chapter to my testimony. So whether you're in a good season or you're a bad season, stay the course, trust the process. God's not done, and He is shaping us no matter what season you may be in right now. One day at a time, we say, trust the process, thank God through it, give Him all the glory, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, and He will grow you and shape you. He's shaping you. Remember, He's shaping you, whether it's good or bad. He's working in you. Don't get complacent. Don't get comfortable. And if it's good, celebrate it, give Him gratitude, keep showing up. If it's bad, keep showing up, have gratitude, keep worship your way through it. And God is going to give you a beautiful testimony through the process. Hey guys, thanks so much for being with me today. I hope this blessed your heart. I hope to see you next time. Until then, God bless you guys.